tea or whatever you are sipping, and get cozy. Here we share and start the morning with a positive vibe. So let's reset, recharge, and reconnect right here on Cup of Cocoa and Chat. I'm Princess, host of Cup of Cocoa and Chat.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. So, our weekly theme for July 27th through August the 2nd is steady steps. Steady steps. Staying the course when life happens. Staying the course when life happens. Today is episode number 54, The Power. I'm sorry, episode number 54. Keep going when the excitement wears off. Keep going when the excitement wears off. So let's get right into it. Welcome to Cup of Cocoa and Chat. I am Princess, your host, and I am so glad you're here. Whether you're relaxing at home, commuting, working, running errands, or simply taking a moment for yourself, thank you for inviting me into your day. Grab your favorite beverage. Of course, you know mine is hot or cold cocoa. And let's spend a few moments together once you have that beverage. Here at Cup of Cocoa and Chat, we're building a community that believes intentional living begins with meaningful conversations. Every week, we will explore faith, personal growth, history, lifestyle, wellness, relationships, and the everyday moments that help us grow into the people God created us to be. No matter where you are on your journey, I hope today's conversation encourages you, strengthens your faith, and reminds you that every small step taken with purpose has the power to shape a brighter tomorrow. So let's get comfortable, let's open our hearts, and let's start today's cocoa conversation. Let's pour our first cup of cocoa and get into segment one. Motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. Okay? So, have you ever, we've talked about motivation, we've talked about discipline, but I want to know today, have you ever noticed how exciting it feels to start something new? Like, start something new, like a new job, a new business, a new fitness journey, a new relationship, a new dream, right? When you're starting those things in the beginning, motivation is everywhere, right? It engulfs you, it's all around you, right? You're excited, you're energized, you can already picture the outcome, and everything feels possible, right? But then life happens, right? Life happens, and the excitement wears off, right? Okay? And so the alarm clock rings a little too early. It's time to get up. It's time to go and grind, right? You get tired. You get discouraged. You don't see results as quickly as you hoped that you would. And suddenly the question becomes, am I still willing to keep going? And that's where discipline steps in. Because you see, motivation is a wonderful starting point, but it was never designed to carry us through every season, right? Because motivation is only based on how we feel. But discipline is based on the commitment we have made. You see the difference? Motivation is how we feel, discipline is that commitment, right? There will be days when you don't feel like exercising. We all been there, right? Days when you don't feel like praying, days when you don't feel like creating content if you're a creator, days when you don't feel like working on your goals, right? But if we only moved, when we only move when we feel inspired, we will spend more time waiting than growing. See, because discipline will say, I may not feel like it today, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know, not just because it's easy, not because I'm guaranteed immediate results, but because I believe today's effort is preparing me for tomorrow's opportunities, right? That's what gets you going. That's that commitment. Just think about this. Think about the people you admire the most, whether they're entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, or people of faith. Guess what? They didn't become successful simply because they were motivated every day. Oh no, They became successful because they continued showing up, especially on days they didn't feel like it. You talk about commitment, okay? And maybe that's a reminder someone listening needs today. We need to rethink our commitment. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want you to underestimate the power of showing up, right? You don't have to have a perfect day. You don't have to accomplish everything on your list. Sometimes success looks like simply refusing to quit, right? One prayer, one phone call, one chapter read, one workout done, one piece of content posted, one faithful step. Those small acts of discipline become the foundation of life built with purpose. So today, instead of asking yourself, do I feel motivated? I want you to start asking yourself, what commitment am I willing to honor today? Because motivation may get you started. And yes, I need you to get started. But discipline is what keeps you moving forward. We want to continue moving forward. And my friend, that's where the lasting growth begins. You're getting started, but you have that discipline and that drive to keep moving forward. Okay? That's when growth happens. So as you sip your cocoa today, or whatever the beverage you're drinking today, ask yourself this: am I waiting to feel motivated, or am I willing to stay committed to the life God has called me to build? And I'll take the latter every time. I will take the latter every time. Okay? So let's move on to something I've been thinking about lately, right? Which is, what happens after the vision board? What happens after the vision board? Now I know you're wondering, what vision board is she talking about? Like, what is she talking about? Okay? So for myself, I recently created what I call my vision board. My vision board. Some people have other names for them, right? But I called mine the vision board, right? What I did was divided it into 6 dedicated sections, and each section represents a vision I'm either working on actively right now, or something I plan to pursue in the near future. So some of them are sooner than others, but I have 6 separate sections. But oh no, I didn't stop there, right? I also gave myself timelines on my vision board, right? Not because I want to pressure myself, but because I want it to be intentional, right? If I'm going to do it in the future, I wanted a real timeline, right? I wanted a timeline that I can work towards. So I know exactly where I'm headed, what I need to do now, what I need to do in a month, what I need to do in a couple of months, right? I wanted to be very intentional with it, right? Because dreams are wonderful, but I believe giving them a direction helps turn them into goals, right? So once I created my vision board, I printed it out and I placed it where I'll see it every day, right? Why did I do that? I did that because it's easy to get distracted by life. It's easy to forget what you're working toward when you're busy handling what's right in front of us, right? Seeing my vision every day reminds me why I started it in the first place, right? I also added 8 daily habits at the very bottom, small but intentional actions that I want to practice consistently. So I do those every day, right? Those 8 daily habits, I do them every day. And one of them is pray. I do them every day. Those habits are just as important as the dreams themselves, because our habits often determine whether our dreams become reality. Did you hear that? Those habits are just as important as the dreams themselves, because our habits often determine whether our dreams become reality. So you see, a vision board isn't magic, right? Now, you may not have a vision board. Your visions may be in your head, right? But because I'm a visual person, I had to write it down and put it on paper so I can see it, right? Now, like I said, vision boards, it isn't magic. It isn't magic. It doesn't change your life simply because you have a vision or because you made a vision board. It's just a reminder. It's a guide. It's a visual representation for me of where I believe God is leading me. So your vision may be in your head. You may have written your vision down in your journal. Some people write their visions down and stick it in their Bible. Like, we all do different things, but we all have a vision. And if you don't have a vision or you haven't thought about your vision, I want you to start thinking about a vision. It could be a vision, it could be more than one vision. I have several, right? But this is an individualized thing. So you may have one vision, you may have written it down, you may not have written it down. But it's a reminder if you've written it down and you have it where you can see it all the time. If not, it's in your mind. It's in that brain of yours. But treat it as your guide, right? Treat it as your guide. So here's the thing. The real transformation happens after the board is finished, right? It happens when you wake up and choose to do the work to get to that vision, to make that vision happen, to make that vision materialize. You got to put in that work. And it happens when you stay committed, even when progress feels slow. It happens when you keep showing up long after the excitement of creating the board has faded, or long after you have came up with your vision, right? For me, my prayer is that my dreams don't just live on that board. And I pray that your visions don't just stay in your head or something that you're thinking about, right? I pray that they become your reality through faith, consistency, and God's guidance. And I pray that same prayer for myself. Now, maybe that's the question we all need to ask ourselves. What are we doing after the vision board? What are we doing after the vision board? Are we taking the steps toward the life we imagine or the life we have written down? Or are we simply admiring the picture or the thought? Because dreams deserve more than decoration. My vision board is beautiful, I think. You know, I designed it the way I wanted it to be designed. but it deserves more than just the decoration that I put on the board. It deserves dedication, and your vision deserves dedication as well. Your vision or visions, okay? One faithful step at a time. All right? Now let's take at least one of those visions from the board, from your imagination, and expect the middle. Now, what do I mean by expect the middle? Because starting is exciting. We've talked about that. Starting is exciting. That motivation got you. You excited, you pumped, you ready. There's energy, there's hope, there's anticipation. And if we're honest, crossing the finish line is exciting too. So when you think about what it's going to look like once it's finished, that also excites you. So starting excites you. Crossing over to that finish line excites you. And that's where we normally celebrate. That's where we normally celebrate. We celebrate the start, we celebrate the finish. Right? Because that's where people or everyone notices the accomplishment. But what about the middle? Right? Remember, I said expect the middle. What about the middle? The middle is where most of us struggle. Right? Most people struggle there in the middle. It's the place where excitement has faded, but the finish line is still far away. It's where progress feels slow. It's where the distractions show up. It's where doubt starts whispering it to us. Is it really worth it? Is all this work really worth it? The truth is, every meaningful journey has a middle. Whether you're building a business, improving your health, strengthening your faith, growing your relationships, or pursuing a lifelong dream, there will come a time when the newness wears off. It's bound to happen, right? That's the moment when you have a choice. Will you stop? Huh? Or will you stay the course? The middle isn't a sign that you're failing, though. Now, let's not get that twisted. Just because you're in that middle, it doesn't mean that that's a sign that you're failing. Mhm. The middle is where your character is being developed. Uh-huh. It's where the patient is strengthened, right? That's where everything is building in the middle, right? It's where resilience is built. It's where faith grows. Because those long days and long nights when you call out to God, right? So anyone can celebrate a beginning and anyone can admire the finish line. But it's somebody very special that really gets it because it's the middle that determines whether you get there. So don't become discouraged if you're in the middle of your journey today. I'm here to tell you keep showing up, keep learning, keep trusting God, and most of all, keep taking the next faithful step. Because one day you'll look back and realize what felt like the hardest part of the journey was actually preparing for the life you were praying for. Okay? So today, don't focus only on how exciting it is to start. Don't spend all your time dreaming about the finish line. Instead, ask yourself, what do I need to do today to stay committed while I'm in the middle? Because the people who finish well aren't always the fastest. They're the ones who refused to quit when the journey became ordinary. Special kind of folk. That's a special kind of folk. Okay? Now, can I share something that I think many of us also struggle with? And I too am guilty of this. We spend too much time looking for confirmation from people. Stop looking for constant confirmation. Stop it. Stop looking for constant confirmation. We spend too much time looking for confirmation from other folk. We're waiting for someone to like the post. We're looking for somebody to comment on the video. We're looking for someone to applaud our accomplishments, to tell us we're doing a good job. And when those things don't happen, we start questioning ourselves. We say things like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I should just quit. But here's what I've learned: people's silence isn't always God's answer. I'm going to repeat that. People's silence isn't always God's answer, right? A few episodes ago, I told you you will get the applause from the most strangest places or people. Not strangest people, strangest place. Like, it's usually strangers that applaud us, that cheer us on. Strangers. I want you to hear that. It's usually strangers who applaud us and cheer us on. And that's okay. That's okay. Because before you began your journey, you should have been spending time in prayer, right? You should have seek God's wisdom and ask Him to order your steps, right? And then when you're done that, trust Him enough to keep walking even when the crowd around us is quiet, or the people we think should be applauding us, or should be telling us we're doing a good job, or should be watching, right? Because sometimes no applaud is needed. Sometimes nobody applauds, and sometimes it's not needed. So nobody has to notice. But that doesn't mean our work doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that. Because not every seed grows the day it's planted. We all know that. Not every prayer is answered immediately. Not every act of faith receives instant recognition. Some of the most meaningful work you'll ever do will happen when no one is watching but God. That's why our confidence can't be built on people's approval. Mm-mm. It has to be rooted in God's purpose for our lives. You know? If you're constantly looking for validation from others, you'll spend your life riding an emotional roller coaster. You know? Because you'll have one compliment that will lift you up, and then one one criticism that will tear you down because you lack confidence. You will have one successful day that will make you feel unstoppable. And then when you get a difficult day, it will make you question everything. So instead, let your confidence come from knowing that you're being faithful to what God has placed on your heart. So if today feels quiet, keep praying, keep trusting, keep serving, keep creating, keep showing up. Because because God sees every faithful step you take, even when no one else does. And sometimes the greatest confirmation, I'm sorry, and sometimes the greatest confirmation isn't applause from people. It's the peace that comes from knowing you did your best. You did that thing, girl. You did that thing, man, guy. You did that thing because you were walking in obedience to God. And that's the kind of confirmation that keeps you moving forward. Right? That's confirmation that keeps you moving forward. It's that confidence that keeps you moving forward. Right? Okay? So we got that confidence, we got confirmation. You know, we don't need outside applause. We don't need anything, right? Because here we are. We've prayed, we've trusted God, we've started the journey, we've stayed committed through the middle. And now let's talk about something that almost is guaranteed to happen. So you say, what now? What now? Right? Life sometimes will require you to pivot, right? Learn to pivot without quitting, okay? Now, I've talked about pivoting a lot over, me doing my podcast episodes. I've talked about pivot. And I think all of us became experts at pivoting in 2020 during the lockdown or shutdown, whatever it was called, right? Because our plans had changed, our routines had changed, the way we worked changed, the way we connected with people changed. We didn't necessarily stop moving, right? We didn't stop moving. We just had to move differently, right? And we did it, right? And that's a lesson we can carry with us today, right? Sometimes the path God leads us down looks different than the one we imagine, right? Because life changes, health changes, family responsibilities happen, unexpected opportunities come along, and sometimes loss happens, right? I recently had to do some pivoting myself, you know, coming home these last few days looks different now because because my beloved fur baby, Mercedes, is no longer here to greet me, right? She's no longer here to greet me when I open the front door. And that has changed my routine. It's changed my emotions. It's changed the part of my day. Things that I look forward to. But it has not changed my purpose. I've had to adjust my pace, but not my purpose, right? So things will happen. Things will come and go. So what you just do is you adjust your pace, but not your purpose. And maybe someone listening today needs to hear that. Because a pivot isn't a failure. A pivot is an adjustment. It says I'm willing to change my approach without abandoning my calling. There may be seasons when you have to slow down. There may be seasons when you have to ask for help. You have to ask for help. There may be seasons that you'll have to ask. There may be seasons where you have to rethink your plan. But guess what? That's not quitting. That's wisdom. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is say, this path isn't working anymore. This direction isn't working anymore. But I'm not giving up on the destination. Right? Because God often redirects us not to discourage us, but to prepare us for what's ahead. So if life has required you to pivot recently, don't be discouraged. Keep trusting, keep praying, keep believing. And most importantly, keep moving forward one faithful step at a time, right? Because your purpose isn't determined by the route you take. Your purpose is determined by the one who's leading you. And as long as God is guiding your steps, you can adjust your pace without giving up on your purpose. Okay? All right. All right. So the conversation is getting good. You think? Yes, it is. It is getting good. So once we've committed to the journey, we've learned to pivot, yes, and refuse to quit. Come on, somebody. There's one more thing we have to guard carefully. And what do you think that is? That is our momentum. We got to protect it. Protect your momentum. You see, momentum is a beautiful thing. Once you get moving, you begin to see progress. Your confidence grows, your faith grows, your discipline becomes stronger. The things that once felt difficult begin to feel more natural, right? But here's the truth: momentum is fragile. It's fragile. It doesn't take much to lose it if we're not intentional. That's why we have to protect it. Protect it from comparison. The moment you start measuring your journey against someone else's, you lose sight of the path God has given you. You ever been in a race and you're watching the other contestants? You should only be focused on where you're going, right? Because their timeline isn't your timeline. Their assignment isn't your assignment. Run your race. Protect your momentum from distractions. Because not everything that demands your attention deserves your attention. I'm going to say that again. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your attention. Sometimes the biggest distraction isn't something bad, it's something good that simply isn't meant for you right now. It's something good that simply isn't meant for you right now. So protect your momentum from overcommitting. We don't have to say yes to everything, you know, because every yes costs us time, it costs us energy and focus. Sometimes protecting your purpose means having the courage to say no, no, not right now. I can't do that right now. Protect your momentum from negativity. Be mindful of the voices that you allow into your life, right? I don't let everybody into my life. I don't let everybody pray for me. I just simply do not allow every voice in my life, right? Feed your faith more than your fears. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth instead of constantly draining your spirit. And finally, protect your momentum from perfectionism. What do I mean? Perfection has stopped more dreams than failure ever could, right? Because if you're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions, you may never begin or you may stop every time something isn't perfect. Prime example, yesterday I went to a day party, my niece and I. And those of you that know me, know that I was co-owner of a business with my niece, right? I loved every moment of it until I didn't, right? So I no longer own that business with her. And we're good, right? We're good. But I say all of that to say we one of the things that we used to have dragged down fights about is I am a visionary, right? She's a visionary. She has a different vision than I do, right? I used to focus on the promotion side of our business because those are the things I'm good at, right? She was good at buying merchandise, and I was good at marketing, right? And promotion. I used to always say, hey, we need to go live. We need to sell our products on live, right? We need to get that driving force to our website, right? And she's a perfectionism. She has to be perfect. We got to have the perfect lighting, the perfect setup, the perfect clothes, the perfect this, the perfect that, the perfect this and that. So yesterday we were out and she said, I want to go live. I said, girl, you don't want to go live. She said, yes, yeah, I want to go live. I want to go live. She all excited. She all excited, right? That motivation got her, right? And so she, wait a minute. I pushed the live button only for her to find out. And it's our first time ever going live, right? I used to suggest it all the time. But anyway, I pushed the live button. So any of you that have gone live, you know once you push that button to go live, it's going to give you another prompt to go live, which means you got time, right? You got time to get your set up. You got time to do whatever, right? And then I hit live. I hit go live, and then it gave her a countdown. It went three, two, one. And she said, "Oh, wow. It gives you this time. It gives you that." You don't have to have that perfect moment. You don't have to have the perfect conditions, because you may never begin, or you may stop every time something isn't perfect. And that's exactly what used to happen with her. But she was so excited about yesterday and going live and getting through it. And then the end, she was excited, right? So remember, progress isn't always, I'm sorry, progress is always more powerful than perfection, right? Progress is always more powerful than perfection. Because at the end of the day, momentum isn't about moving the fastest, it's about continuing to move in the right direction, right? So once she got the hang of the live and going live, now guess what? She wants to go live more. We're gonna go live. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that, right? So that speaks to that momentum, because she want to keep it going. She wants to keep it going, right? So momentum isn't about moving the fastest. It's about continuing to move in that in the right direction. Okay? So protect your peace, protect your focus, protect your faith, and protect your purpose. Know what that purpose is and be able to protect it. Right? Because every faithful step you take today is carrying you closer to the life God has called you to live. And that journey is worth protecting. Okay? So, as we begin to wrap up today's Cocoa conversation, and I'm sorry I went down that, I took us off, you know, but that was just a perfect opportunity to talk about perfection and momentum and, the excitement of it all, right? But anyway, as we begin to wrap up today's Cocoa conversation, there's one more thought I want to leave you with, right? Your future is counting on present you. Future is counting on present you. Your future is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Remember that. Your future is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Because every choice matters, every prayer matters, every act of obedience matters, every step of faith matters. Because sometimes we think little things don't make a difference, and they do. They do. The decision to pray instead of worrying, the decision to keep going when you feel like giving up, the decision to forgive, the decision to take care of your health, the decision to spend time with people you love, the decision to trust God even when you can't see the whole picture, right? Those decisions become tomorrow's life. The person you'll be a year from now is being shaped by the choices you're making today. So here's a question I'd like you to think about. What would future me thank me for? What would future me thank me for? Ask that question of yourself, right? So what would your future self thank you for? Right? Would future you thank you for taking better care of your health? Or would it thank you for finally starting that business? Hmm. Could it be spending more time with your family? With your future self, thank you for taking more time to spend with your family? Would it thank you for saying yes to an opportunity that scared you, like going live, right? Or could it be for trusting God instead of living in fear? Or maybe the future you would simply thank you for not giving up. My hope is that when you look back over this season of your life, you'll be able to say, I stayed the course, I trusted God, I adjusted my pace when life changed, but I never abandoned my purpose. Because that's what this week's conversation has really been about. Not being perfect, not moving the fastest, but taking steady steps, trusting God's timing, and believing that every faithful decision is preparing you for what's next, right? So I want you to keep going when the excitement wears off. And that's the title of our episode. Keep going when the excitement wears off. So if you're excited to start something new today or something new in the near future, keep going when the excitement wears off. Okay? So as as we leave our Coco conversation today, remember this: your future isn't waiting for someday. Your future is being created by what you choose to do today. Success isn't always about taking giant leaps. Success is simply refusing to stop, to keep showing up, to keep trusting God, to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep becoming. Because every faithful step you take today is shaping the future God has prepared for you. So I want to thank you for spending this time with me. If today's Coco conversation encouraged you, I hope you're shared with someone who may need the reminder to keep going. Okay? Until next time, be kind, stay faithful, and keep taking those steady steps. Right? Peace and blessings. I love you, and I mean it.